There's a few new screenshots to look at today from the upcoming Odyssey update, and this is the first time we get to actually see the first person perspective of the game, which also happens to include some shots of the new weapons. So these images are from the latest issue of PC Gamer, which contained some exclusive content on Odyssey, along with an interview with game director Piers Jackson. This is the cover feature for issue 351 of the magazine. Now, I spoke about the content of the article in a previous video, but due to the low quality of the photos in the article, we couldn't look at the new screenshots. That's no longer an issue, and whilst these still aren't perfect quality, they are more than good enough to allow a closer look. These images then give us our first look at the first person's perspective in Odyssey. I think it's fair to say that Odyssey looks like it is going to have a decent graphical upgrade all round. The settlements here are far more detailed than anything in the game right now, and yes, that makes complete sense. A few things that really stand out to me here are the improved ground textures, along with the way the SRV is kicking up the dust. Also, note how the dust appears to be clinging to the tyres of the SRV. The blue sky is also a very nice touch, and notice the rayleigh scattering here, with the transition gradient towards the horizon. It gives the planet a very Earth-like feel, and I'm hoping those effects will actually be in the game. We can see something similar in an older screenshot, however in this example the colours are very different, and much of the gradient is caused by the sun. Either way, having the rayleigh scattering included as a part of the sky is a huge deal. Now, very little has been said about weapons so far, other than they will come in different sizes and types. The gun in this image is certainly on the large size, and from what's been shown in PC Gamer, it appears that the weapons will be highly detailed. Now, I'm not going to go and comment on the weapons itself just yet, however I do want to leave the image on the screen for just a moment to give you the opportunity to check out all the details there. Now, it's obvious that combat is going to be a huge part of Odyssey. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, I'm not a combat-centric player when it comes to Elite, although I do enjoy shooters a lot, especially the likes of Tribes, PlanetSide and Warframe, just to name a few. The real question will be how well Frontier can add that type of gameplay into the Elite Dangerous mythos. After all, the ability to get out of the ship and move around on foot should very much be about freedom. So in a game as open as Elite, on-foot sections should offer a huge mix of varied gameplay options. I guess time will tell. Now, I've noticed in the comments to my previous videos, a lot of people have mentioned how Odyssey shares some visual traits with Star Citizen, and that is very much apparent in this screenshot. However, I would also add here that both Star Citizen and Odyssey actually share more in common with Mass Effect, which in turn shares visuals with still older sci-fi such as Babylon 5. A very strong case could also be made that both games were heavily influenced by older sci-fi art such as that by Sid Mead. At any rate, we can see a completely different gun in this image. It's somewhat harder to see what weapon the other person is carrying, however, but you will notice that the person in front has a bag or a holster of some type on their hip. Incidentally, PC Gamer also mentioned that suits will be customizable by cosmetics, basically in their visual appearance that is, much in the same way that they can currently be done with ships. And this is yet another weapon we can see here in this image, and it's the only time we actually get to see a weapon being discharged. Now, how this all looks in action is of course going to be a completely different story, but from what we can see here it looks as though it's going to be pretty good. Clearly this one is an energy weapon and it's affecting the shield of the target, which is showing as a blue glow around the person. On perhaps a smaller note here, the colours of this room seem very different to those in the previous area, so hopefully there will be some graphical variation from location to location, and that is something which is going to be essential due to the amount of settlements and buildings that will be available in Odyssey. They do need to have quite a bit of variation. I mean, it's one thing to have limited variation when you're in a ship. After all, you don't notice too much. It's not really about the environment so much as it is the ships and what you're doing there. But when you're on first person and when you're on your feet, it really is very noticeable if area after area all ends up looking the same as each other. So again, hopefully there's going to be a decent amount of variation here. So that pretty much covers all of the new images that are available in the magazine. There's not a whole lot of them here, unfortunately, but what there is gives us some insight at least as to what to expect from Odyssey. It's likely then that the next glimpse we get of Odyssey will be in the next dev diary, which as yet hasn't been announced. But that brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.